I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Hello, I am so very
You
sorry.
don't need to say sorry. I've got severe. Yeah, I don't. I'm having problems with the connection of my phone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
And I'm sorry about everything today.
Oh, all of it. This is a podcast in which two friends talk about the pleasures, absurdities, and imperfections of being human. I'm Simon Ellis.
And I'm Lee Miller. Welcome to Midlifing. So, for people listening, the reason I am sorry...
Can you hear me now?
Can I?
You can hear me, right?
I can hear you beautifully. You're coming through crystal clear, loud as a bell.
Good. I like to be bell-like in my loudness.
You are. And the reason I'm apologising to Simon is because I am an hour and 8 minutes late. This is a prearranged lateness. We were supposed to start...
I mean the hour, not the 8 minutes.
The 8 minutes is additional. So we were out with our next door neighbour last night for her birthday. And her whole family's come to visit, and we have been adopted, which is very, very adorable.
She's
and very
quite
sweet
elderly, isn't she? She's in her 80s easily.
Oh, yes, she's 86, yeah.
Yeah, you can't hide it then, can you?
No. So we went out for dinner last night, and as we were finishing, it's like, oh, would you like to come round for cake in the morning? And couldn't say no. And then the conversation was just flowing, and so I just thought,
Beautiful.
I can't finish. Yeah, anyway, so
no, it's,
I'm so sorry.
But you said you were going to say sorry for everything. Are there other things that you need to say sorry for? And did you make a list?
I'm sorry for your poor phone connection.
Oh.
I'm sorry for...
Oh, so you didn't make a list. You sound like you're making this up as you're going.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that my cholesterol's through the roof again.
Oh, because of the cake this morning, or have you just had it checked?
No, I've just had a test.
Oh no, is it?
Yeah.
So you have to go back.
Such a good job. I've got to go back. I'm back to boring
What's
food.
that? What's that called when you kind of go up and then you go down and then you go up?
Okay.
But what's that called? Like boom and bust? No, there's another.
It's yo-yo dieting.
Yo-yo. Oh, so two things, that reminds me of two things. One is that I'm not really eating a lot of sugary food during the week. So I have 5 days where I wanted to make it kind of special again.
Yes.
You know. And so I did make it special this morning, and I feel hungover. I mean, I just like, my head is kind of like, and I'm just thinking, imagine that must be going on all the time. It's just that I'm used to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Yeah. I actually really want to lie down and have a little nap right now.
Well, I mean, lie down and nap, and I will just talk at you about my grumbling gallbladder.
Your grumbling gallbladder. And the other thing that happened, I went to London this last week to see some friends. Yes, I was. Yep. That's exactly what I did. And on my way back to Euston. For those of you who don't live in the UK, Euston is one of the a big train station in London, and there's some people doing some flyer thing, or doing survey kind of thing outside. Uh-huh. And a woman approached me. I'm not a big fan of them, I have to say. It's that it's just, I don't know why I don't like it. But anyway, she said, "Hello, young man."
Right.
Go on. And I went, "Oh, I see what you did there," and then just kept walking.
So it didn't pierce your armour.
Just about did, though. Just about.
Let me give you half an hour of my time. Yes. What do you need to know?
I'll tell you everything. Well, how was that you described me at the beginning? Just remind me one more time. Once more with feeling. I knew it when I was at the front. Biatch. Sorry, I just quoted a whole lot of dance films then. So yeah, that's all I've got to say.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's been a hectic week. Hectic week. Including including, as you probably know, spending time with Bob.
I knew that because she did tell me.
I thought she might have. Although you never know with Bob.
It. That's true.
She might not have.
But I knew where she was going, and I thought there's a good chance.
Well, did she tell you that I snuck in on her panel? So I was on the panel.
She said that somebody fell sick and you came in at the last minute like a knight on his white horse.
That's pretty much, and it was a little awkward getting the horse in the room. It wasn't a very big room, but get it in I did.
But with no preparation, you swung in and you did what was necessary.
Exactly, but all that was just because there was a free lunch, and I got to sit next to Bob.
Was it a nice event? Did you have a good time?
It was an interesting event. It was an interesting because it was for three-letter acronym alert, or TLA alert, ECRs. So these are we never had them in my day. I don't remember ever being called an ECR or an early career researcher. So and it must be strange being an academic in general these days, but being an ECR must be even super weirder.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. So it was great. I mean, it was really interesting to hear them. It's interesting to hear my colleagues talk, all that stuff. But yeah, it was. I had a good time. I had a really good time.
Oh,
and lovely to see Bob, who just still looks like she's about 30.
I
ageless.
Know. Try living with her. It's really frustrating. And also,
annoying.
her cholesterol's really fine, so whatever.
Fuck you. And the thing about, Lil's a little bit the same, of course. She just doesn't seem to age. And I have people now, like they did when we first met, because she looked so young when we first started going out. It was just a little awkward. And now they're not looking at her going, they're just looking at me going, wait, how
old are you?
Exactly.
Are you what exactly is your relationship to this woman?
Is that her father?
Yeah,
not good.
Bob and I are too close in age, I think, for any. Not that you and Lil are particularly far apart in age. 7 to 8 years almost. So it's enough to. Yeah. It's enough for there to be a little bit of difference, and I think it's just that I don't look as well kept by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not quite in dad territory, but I am definitely in. I
think you look your age, like I look my age. But it's just that the anomalies are the people we're married to.
Exactly. Oh well,
it's not great. So Lee David Miller last week. I said I've got something to say, and you said, I've got something to say too. But we never got to your thing. Do you remember what it was?
I do. I remember exactly what it was, because I was, even at the time, I was thinking, is this something to talk about, or is it subject normal?
And has it stopped? Is it still something to talk about, or have you?
No, it's still something to talk about, because it's something that has really troubled me, and I think I want to get your perspective on it. And if I am being too woke, and I know that you're the woke police, so you will absolutely keep me on the right side of Farage.
I have a very sophisticated wokeometer.
Yes, exactly. You'll go, no, Miller, you have tipped into wokery. This is wokassery. This is
peak woke.
This is woke shittery. This is You'll give me all of those sorts of.
Okay. I'm just gonna do a few little woking exercises.
Make sure that you're
warm up.
Awoke.
Yeah.
Lol.
Nice. Okay, go. Is this about Nigel Farage?
Adjacent.
Okay. So just adjacent, Nigel Farage, right-wing leader of a new party which would sweep the elections if one were to happen today.
Yes. Like 30-odd% of the vote.
Yep. People are fickle.
People are fucking stupid. Sorry, because
curiosity,
it's not even a real...
Lee Miller, not judgment.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Not a good start. That wasn't a good start.
I think. Well, actually, this is interesting because I think people aren't, and that was the saving grace of what happened. Okay. Me and Bob have me and Bob and Jeff, or really Jeff, has a rhythm where we eat our dinner, and when we finished our dinner, almost as soon as the fork hits the plate, he's like, okay, now we go for our post-dinner walk, yes?
Yeah.
And we ready?
Clear.
Are we ready? Are we ready?
Yeah, right. I mean,
And it's
I can
like,
imagine
as
that
soon
side.
as we
Yep.
finish eating,
Yep.
he's like, right, you finished eating. It's time for me to go for a walk.
Yep.
Like, no time to digest. No. Postprandial digestion. Walk and digest. Come on. So we go out after our dinner, which, is sometime in the early evening.
Still light these days, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. So just about still light, and it was still light at this particular time. I guess it was just about light. But,
Twilight even.
Twilighty, yes, exactly. Just past the golden hour, tipping into twilight.
Beautiful.
And
Big shout out to all our filmmaker listeners.
We're walking up the high street. We just do a big loop round the town. It's not he doesn't demand a runny round walk. This is I want to sniff things. I want to check in on my messages. I want to see if any of the shops are open. I want to see if people have left chips. That's the walk that he's doing. So we're walking up the high street, and standing outside of Birdwood House is a guy called Doug and a dog called Poppy. Poppy is a dog that Jeffrey met when she was on her first walk out of the house.
So, old friend.
Old friend. So she's 7, Jeff is 8.
Yep.
Or actually, she's nearly 7.
So
Jeff
they
is nearly-
BFFs or acquaintances still? Long-held acquaintances, kind of.
I would say, for them, they are both the best of friends, and they are both dogs who do not like other dogs.
Right.
They're not aggressive to other dogs. They are just utterly uninterested in other dogs.
Yep.
Jeffrey will, in all honesty, cross the road to avoid having to have anything to do with the dog. It's like, whatever, don't care. It's just basically a table with fur. I'm not interested. Poppy, he will stop and pass the time with. So he stops and passes the time. They have a sniff. They have a little, whatever dogs do to communicate. And they're hanging around with one another. Poppy lies down. Jeffrey sits. And they're just hanging out. And me and Bob and Doug are having a conversation. And then a man goes past, and immediately Poppy's hackles raise, and she's like, I don't like you. And Jeff clocks this, and another man goes past who, it transpires, is with this person, this other man. So they walk maybe about 10 feet further on from us, and then stop. And something about them tickles the back of my brain. And I realise that what is bothering me is they both have earpieces in. Not headphones. The kind of thing that you see on a cop show where somebody's like undercover.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not.
Are they that kind of age? Were they sort of mid-30s kind of age?
Yeah. Mid-30s, built like brick shit houses.
Right.
And they stop. And that hasn't really gone into my brain. That information has not gone into my brain yet. I've seen something. It is not right about how they are. And they carry on walking to a cafe that's on the corner. And they go in. None of this really matters because what's happening is me and Doug and Bob. Hello, you. Speaking of the devil, it's Jeffrey Miller. Me and Bob and Jeffrey was asleep when I came in the house, and he's very, very deep sleeper now, and he doesn't know that I'm in the house. And then suddenly he'll go, holy shit, there's a Lee here. And so he runs in. Anyway, me and Doug and Bob are talking about the fact that Poppy communicated to Jeff that fella was wrong. And immediately Jeff stood up and went, I'll get him. Don't worry, kiddo. I've got your back. And so we were laughing about the... kind of awkward laughing about the idea of dogs communicating their dislike for things and sharing that dislike.
So just a little woke check-in. No signs of any woke issues so far.
It's coming.
Oh, okay.
So these two guys have gone in a cafe, right? Up ahead.
Yeah.
So I tell, yeah. And it's a takeaway. It's not a cafe. It's a takeaway, I should say. And then this is probably like maybe 90 seconds later, long enough for us to have kind of finished that bit of the conversation, and we're just sort of getting to that point where we're ready to move on.
Yeah.
And finish our walk. And 4 guys walking 4 abreast come past us, 2 on the pavement, 2 on the road,
Mm-hmm.
and they are fully suited and booted in stab vests.
What'd you call them?
stab vests, the
Yeah.
vests, so kind of body, but the light body armor, not the kind of stuff that
They're not Kevlar. They're just to stop
no,
blades,
no.
not bullets.
Yeah, exactly. So the kind of thing that you see a lot of urban police forces wearing,
And also, people getting your tickets on the train these days.
oh gosh, yeah. See episode ...
Whatever.
And they walk past us, and by this point, Jeff's already on quite a short lead, and Poppy starts to growl again, and Jeffrey's like bristling, and I realise where on the political spectrum Poppy and Jeffrey live, because they come past us, and written across their back is immigration enforcement. I've never seen this in my life.
I didn't know they existed in the UK.
Me either. And Doug lives just like next to the gallery that we stood at, and he goes in with Poppy because he'd finished his walk and we were just at the beginning of ours. And so we walk along, and those two guys, who I now realise were undercover agents, or plainclothes, perhaps is a better way of saying it, were kind of standing with a guy from the takeaway, and the other four people serving papers to the people in the takeaway.
Oh, really?
And
it was a raid on the takeaway.
It was. Now, this is where I have to go. Two things happened that. Two things. I became aware of two things. Before I said because people are fucking stupid voting for reform and all of that sort of stuff. I was struck by the good people of Totnes. There were maybe 12 or so, and they were filming. All of a sudden, cameras are out. They're filming it very quiet. There was one woman on the phone saying, I'm not quite sure what's happening. And so she's narrating it to somebody, and she's quite shaken by this. And everybody is... what was interesting for me is that there was no, get him out. There was none of that kind of braggadocio. There was no anti-immigrant sentiment being articulated. There was just a sense of, we are going to film this to ensure that this is being done safely. We're going to make sure that everything is appropriate. And then the other side of that was, I saw four of the most polite, calm, and clear people doing their job.
You mean the immigration enforcement officers?
The immigration, yeah, absolutely. The ones in the uniforms. I couldn't really kind of see what the people who were playing clothes were doing by that point. But there was certainly the temperature wasn't raised. There was no, it wasn't that. There was no loud voices. But it was just. So we got around the corner and had our immediate debrief and what's going on there. And I think I was struck by two things. And this is, I think, what I want to ask. The first thing I was struck by was how well... I can't think of a better word. How well behaved. How well behaved everybody was. It did not look like the kinds of scenes... The aftermath of that kind of imagination, how you might play that out in your imagination.
It wasn't tipping into... It wasn't on the edge, a precipice of violence.
Nope, it was just calm, and there was a sense of everybody wanting to make sure that people were doing things the right way and being safe. And being held and being kept safe.
But it wasn't the keep calm and carry on, though, because people had stopped to observe.
People had stopped, and they were doing more than observing. They weren't rubbernecking. That was the interesting thing for me, is they were witnessing.
Yep, gotcha. Hence,
they were very clearly,
the recording of it,
they were very clearly planting their feet and witnessing this. But that wasn't necessary to be said, because everybody behaved very well. But the other thing that I was just struck by is there was at least four and possibly six, because I can't guarantee that the people with earpieces on were connected to this. But I think it's safe to say that they were, because they were having a conversation. And they all will look cut from the same cloth, that kind of very big, muscly, mid-30s men with short hair. At least
and you can just hear someone in the background going 5-0, 5-0.
None of that. None of that. But I was just struck by the idea that there was one person that was being interviewed and taken away, and that was 6 people's wages off, out of the 9 to 5. I just found myself going like, I'm struggling to understand
the economics.
The economics of what is happening here, whereas what I can understand very strongly is the performance of it.
It's not economic, that's why.
and that's the bit that I think
it's
for the
definitely
first,
not economic.
Yeah, but for the first time in a really maybe I'm just terribly naive, Simon, but for the first time in just a very stark way, I saw something that really, this is just such a silly thing to say, popped the rhetoric of the far right of like, this is costing us ... and going, this is a person who has a job. Are they being paid under the counter? I don't know. Maybe they're not paying tax. See billionaires last week. Probably not being paid enough to pay tax in any case. But anyway, let's leave all of that to one side of, because I'm not trying to make a claim for the legality of the action. I'm trying to work it out purely in the cost-benefit model, which is the thing that we are constantly being told, that this will save them. And the idea of both Badenoch's Conservative Party and Farage's Reform Party talking about the idea of
Who's Badenoch? Badenoch is the person that runs the Conservative Party, which used to be Johnson, etc.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. But this idea that this is going to save the country untold billions, and I'm just looking at it and going, there are 6 salaries here. There are 6 salaries for somebody who works in a takeaway. I'm really, really struggling with the finances, and I think, can you make it make sense?
Well, yeah. Like I say, it's just nothing to do with. It's not a. What's the word? Is it pecuniary?
That's a lovely word, and it is indeed the right one.
It's not a pecuniary matter, a matter of money. It's it's beautifully shiny ideology, and ideology is, and that's whether it's the left or the right, it doesn't matter. It's just about the stories we tell, right? It's nothing to do with what actually is. It's just about the stories we tell, and also, perhaps more importantly, the stories we want to believe. And it's very, very hard to let those facts, and these facts you might say are a very small sample or a small, tiny subset of what might be going at the level of the country or Europe or globally. But you're doing maths in a very particular way, aren't you? There's one person with one job and 6 people being paid by the state with another. Don't get the maths, and I'm totally with you on that. But those maths make no difference. What is more shocking for me is the Immigration Enforcement Officer, IEO. Yeah, it's nothing that's news to me. And this is, of course, what's most telling is that this is happening under what is effectively or nominally a left of centre government, which is under so much pressure from the right in relation to immigration. Right? It's not. That you might say is a fact, but I guess I would maybe can ask you something different, which is from the other side or the other end of this very complex problem, which is, do you think there should be some rules about who gets to come into the country and who doesn't?
Well, it depends which Lee you're asking.
Because you might say no, there should be no rules.
And that's the Lee that says there's no such thing as a country.
Right.
It's a fictional concept.
It's not a great strategy for if you were running for government or one.
No, yeah. and I would so never be the person who, because that idea of like, well, if you don't believe in countries, how can you have you can't be for this place, you can't stand, you've got no pride, all of those sorts of things. Yeah. Exactly. So it's like, oh yeah. So
By the way, I'm. That's where I. It's not that I don't believe them. Don't believe in them. It's just that I think only bad things comes out of geopolitical, the creation of nation states. I don't think any good things come out of it. So I'm right with you there in terms of, you might say, ideologically in relation to nation states.
And I think, the narratives that I am fed, and this, I'm not an immigration law expert, but the narratives I'm fed by all stripes of the media is that we are under so much pressure that we have to do something to account for the fact that there's going to be X number of blah, blah, blah coming into the blah, blah. So it's like, I know that that's the story that's being told. You know what I'm going to say. I'm such a fucking broken record. I'm just going to go, just tax the billionaires. We'll fix everything. And I know we won't, but I constantly feel like this idea of things being, the idea of hoarding of wealth is what is breaking systems. It is not the idea of people needing stuff who are coming in from other places. It's the hoarding of wealth. It's the fact that that wealth is not moving through any system. That's the bit that. I'm such a. This is why I'm not a politician, because I would be such a one issue party. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be the Greens.
Tax the wealthy.
Just tax the wealthy. Tax the wealthy. And Zach Polanski, the leader of the Green Party, is asking for a 1%. Let's just take a moment for that to land. A 1% wealth tax. I'm like, seriously, why are we not asking for a 50% wealth tax? Which is much closer to what I'm paying on my salary. If you think about it, it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I know
I
that
can hear how agitated you are as well. Or animated maybe is a better word.
I am animated for sure.
Yeah. Kind of agree with you, but it's also a frustrating conversation to have because it's not very pragmatic. Not that I disagree with the idea that let's just say billionaires should be taxed more. It's just that particularly because this is an island, right? It is an island which has it has only so many resources. Although you can say all those resources come back to how much income the government can generate. Ugh.
Yeah. Also, the thing about resources is, I know. You're right, but at the same time,
I'm not trying to be right here. I'm just trying to make sense of this.
But I can't make sense of it because the thing I keep coming back to is the majority of the people who are running the services that we need that keep us on the road, that are delivering food, that are delivering services, that are working in the NHS, that are doing all of those things. That,
and they're almost all black and brown as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. And in fact, going to hospital is a phenomenal experience for that people. All the people being treated are more or less white, and they're being treated by brown people. Yeah, that's the thing that upsets me most about these kinds of conversations is that it's a conversation about immigration, but no, it's really a conversation about racism. And that's the thing that really kind of pushes my buttons. That why can't we just say we don't want those people, but those people are okay. And it's just that really, that's when I sort of flip over into wokery. Fuck you, Lee Miller, for taking me there.
I'm going to say, now that I've flipped you over into wokery, this is the moment that I can just say, all right then, bye.
See ya.